There are moments between two people that the world never witnesses out loud, yet somehow everyone in the room can sense. Something unspoken moves through the air between them, magnetic and restless, the kind of pull that makes both of them work harder to appear unbothered than they ever have before. The truth lives nowhere near their words. It hides in the quiet, in the half-second glances, in the way a body reacts before the conscious mind has had any say in the matter. And if you have ever found yourself wondering whether what you feel is something the other person feels too, then stay with this, because real mutual attraction leaves a trail of signs that no one can manufacture or fake. The first sign is not something spoken. It arrives before any words do. It lives in the way someone's energy reshapes your entire nervous system the moment they enter a space. You do not necessarily see them walk in, but something inside you responds anyway. Your posture shifts. You become aware of yourself in a way you were not a second ago. Your mind, which had been calm or distracted, begins running quiet rehearsals of things you might say. This is not imagination. This is your body operating ahead of your thoughts, because when two people are drawn to each other genuinely, the physical self anticipates that connection before logic catches up. Something wakes up inside you, something alert and warm and faintly nervous, and the same thing is happening inside them. Watch how they carry themselves when you are present. They become conscious of small things: their hair, the way they are sitting, the expression they are wearing. Their eyes seem to hold a little more light. None of this is planned. It is the subconscious doing what attraction tells it to do, which is to signal without saying a single word. Both of you are performing the same quiet theater. Both of you are pretending to be completely at ease. But the body is a poor liar, and it gives everything away. There is always a moment when your eyes meet and neither of you moves away fast enough. That brief collision feels weighted, like time briefly bends around the two of you. If the feeling between you were nothing, that moment would dissolve into air. Instead, it hums. It feels like contact that happened without anyone being touched. And the eye contact holds, not long enough to be declared anything, but long enough that the air between you changes. Psychology reveals something quietly unsettling about this stage. When mutual attraction exists, both minds begin scanning each other with the careful focus of someone trying not to be caught looking. You notice the architecture of how they laugh, the particular way they use their hands, the sound their voice makes when something genuinely surprises them. They are doing the exact same inventory of you. Neither of you stares. But neither of you fully stops looking either. You are two forces pretending to be neutral while everything inside pulls in one direction. The connection occasionally frightens you with its own intensity. You cannot always name why you are so drawn to someone. You only know that you are, and you find yourself replaying ordinary moments that should have no reason to stay with you, except that they did. This is the foundational sign, and it is ironclad. A person can carefully choose their words. They can arrange their face. They can manufacture distance. But attraction finds its way out through the body, through the eyes, through the timbre of the voice, through the quality of the silence that forms around them whenever they are close to you. You feel it without being told. They feel it too, even if the conversation never goes anywhere near it. The second layer of this truth shows up in the texture of every exchange between you. When two people are secretly drawn to one another, the simplest conversation stops being simple. Something about it becomes intimate in a way that neither of you entirely chose. A question as ordinary as asking how someone's day went suddenly lands differently when they ask it, because it is not the words, it is the tone behind them. Their voice drops slightly when they speak to you. Yours does the same. There's a quality of care in how you listen to each other that is completely absent from every other conversation you have throughout the day. Most people move through interactions on automatic, brief, surface level, emotionally uninvested. But when feelings exist beneath the surface, that autopilot disappears. You begin sharing things with them that you do not reach for with others, not because you decided to, but because something about their attention feels safe enough to speak into. Fears, the kind you usually keep folded away, come out. Dreams that feel too vulnerable to say aloud to most people find their way into the space between you. This is not accidental. Human beings do not open themselves up to people who mean nothing to them. Emotional vulnerability is something the psyche saves for people it already trusts, and attraction builds that trust faster than almost anything else can. Their body language speaks beneath their words. They lean toward you without appearing to notice that they have. The conversation seems to shrink the world down until only the two of you occupy it. They listen to you in a way that is distinctly different from how most people listen, not to prepare their next response, but to actually absorb what you are saying. And they remember it. Weeks later, something small you mentioned will come back in a sentence, a question, a reference, because you are not someone they process and discard. Their mind keeps you, and you keep them too. You know their preferences, the small specific ones. You know what they said in passing that one time that most people would never have retained. You know because the heart files away everything that belongs to someone it wants. There is also a quieter, darker current that runs beneath all of this. A mild, controlled flash of jealousy when someone else occupies their attention. They do not make a scene. They do not announce it. But the energy subtly shifts. The smile becomes a fraction tighter. Something in their posture changes and then angles back toward you. They need the connection restored without knowing how to ask for it. You notice the same thing happening inside yourself when their attention drifts somewhere else. You watch in a way that is not possessive so much as it is simply honest about what you feel. Neither of you names this. Both of you feel it completely. And yet the connection between you does not depend on constant contact. Silence or distance between conversations does not erode what exists. You can go days without exchanging a single word, and when the conversation reopens, it feels entirely continuous, as though nothing was ever interrupted. The thread never actually broke. This is what emotional imprinting does. When someone has taken up residence inside your mind, they do not leave it during the quiet periods. They stay, running somewhere beneath everything else you do. You may have tried to create distance, to redirect your focus, to reason yourself out of the pull. It comes back. Every time it comes back. Because what exists between two people who genuinely feel something for each other does not dissolve simply because nobody will say so out loud. The energy does not lie. The behavior does not lie. And a silence that feels full to overflowing is perhaps the loudest truth of all. The third sign lives in how differently they treat you compared to everyone else around them, not in sweeping dramatic ways, but in the precise, quiet ways that actually mean something. They notice your emotional state before you announce it. If something is sitting heavy on you, they feel the change. They ask, even when they try to keep it casual, something like whether everything is all right, whether something seems off, whether you are really okay. Those questions do not get asked about people who do not matter. Concern like that has to come from somewhere real. You do the same for them. You hear the slight shift in their voice when something is wrong, even when they insist it is nothing. You read the thing they are not saying. Attraction does this. It sharpens your sensitivity to the specific person, makes you finely tuned to frequencies that would be invisible coming from anyone else. And underneath that sensitivity sits something protective. When someone means something to you, you do not want to watch them suffer. You do not want to see them dismissed or belittled or hurt. A careless comment someone makes about them will sit uncomfortably in you. You would defend them, sometimes quietly and sometimes out loud, even though nothing formal has been defined between you, even though you hold no official claim. Notice the pacing of how they speak to you. The words come more slowly, more deliberately, as though they are actually weighing them before they arrive. Their voice is softer. The eye contact holds longer. These are not accidental adjustments. Psychologically, when someone becomes emotionally significant, the mind automatically assigns them a different category. They receive a quality of attention that other people simply do not get. You do not decide to do this consciously. You just do it because they matter differently. Here is where it turns in an unexpected direction. They get nervous around you, not in an obvious stumbling way, but in the way of someone trying very hard to hold a composed surface while something more chaotic moves underneath it. They laugh at things that do not quite merit laughter. They reach for their words more carefully than usual. They shift their position. Their voice changes register. Attraction, at the biological level, is a stress response. The brain becomes hyperactivated around the person it wants. So when someone who moves through the rest of their world with easy confidence suddenly becomes careful and slightly unsteady specifically around you, that is not random. You are doing something to them that the rest of the world is not doing. And when you are absent, they feel the gap. They look for you. When you go quiet, they wonder about it. A longer delay before you reply registers somewhere in them even before they have consciously identified it. They do not have to tell you any of this. The way they come back to you tells you. They initiate conversations that begin with nothing important because having your attention matters more than having a reason to ask for it. They tease you, they bother you, they create small reasons for your eyes to meet theirs. Because drawing a reaction from you is preferable to sitting in indifference. People do not chase the attention of someone who stirs nothing in them. They chase the ones who make something inside them feel lit up. And both of you know something is there. You have known for a while. The reason nobody has said it yet is that saying it makes it real, and real means risk. You are afraid of disturbing the thing that already exists between you. They are afraid of hearing a no. Both of you are afraid, in different ways, of losing what you already have. So instead, you live in the space just before it, the unspoken place where everything is felt and nothing is confirmed. But that kind of chemistry does not stay contained forever. It will always find a way to surface. Pay attention to goodbyes, because this is where the truth becomes hardest to contain. When two people feel what you feel for each other, leaving is never clean. There is a hesitation in it, a brief suspension, like both of you are pausing to see if the other person will do something, say something, close some distance. The goodbye gets spoken, but the voice behind it does not sound like someone who is actually ready to walk away. The body stays a beat longer than it should. They linger without a declared reason, standing just slightly closer than distance requires, as though their physical self has not yet received the message that it is time to leave. This is what attachment hesitation looks like when it cannot be hidden anymore. The mind tries to extend the presence of someone it does not want to let go of, and after you have parted, they do not simply switch you off. You linger in them. They replay the conversation, the moment, the way you looked when you said a particular thing. The smallest memory of your presence becomes a place they keep returning to without meaning to. You do the same. You notice yourself looking at your phone, not for anything specific, just in the direction of the possibility that they might reach out. And sometimes they do, with messages that have no real purpose, something about whether you got home safely, something they saw that made them think of you, something about nothing at all. These messages are not arbitrary. They are the shape that longing takes when it has not yet been named. If they are not the ones to message, they find other forms of presence. They watch. They notice. They respond quietly and consistently to whatever small glimpse of your life appears in front of them, because someone who wants to be in your world will find a way to be in it, even from the edges, even when they do not yet have the courage for more. And when you go quiet, when you simply are not there for a day, they feel your absence. Not out of obsession, but out of something simpler and more honest, which is that you have become relevant to them at an emotional level where absence registers. There is also something territorial in all of this, subtle and instinctive. When someone else moves too close to you, compliments you in front of them, or seems to be pulling your focus away, you will see something flicker in their expression. It is not rage or drama. It is a quiet, controlled discomfort that crosses their face before they can neutralize it. Because attraction, even unspoken attraction, comes with a silent, wordless sense of claiming. They do not want someone else to occupy the space they feel connected to. They will not say this, but the body already said it for them. They also hold on to the heavier parts of you. They remember the things that hurt you, the fears you mentioned once, the memories that made you quieter than usual. Someone drawn only to the surface of a person forgets them quickly. Someone genuinely invested remembers the texture of your pain. They notice when your smile is doing work that your mood is not behind. They ask if you are okay, even after you have already said you are, because they can hear the thing underneath what you said. That is not simple curiosity. That is emotional investment that has grown roots. And when you offer them any piece of your real interior, they receive it with an attention the rest of the world rarely gives anyone. No distractions, no performance. Just the quiet, complete focus of someone for whom your feelings genuinely matter more than their own comfort in that moment. The strangest part of this entire architecture is what happens when both of you try to dismantle it. You pull back, they create distance, you both experiment with pretending this is nothing, and then, without any formal decision, you are back. The pull does not respect the decisions made during the moments of fear. Real mutual attraction operates like gravity, and you can walk away from the edge of it, but the force does not stop applying simply because you moved. If their silences feel full of something, if their goodbyes leave an unfinished feeling behind them, if they inhabit your thoughts with a consistency that your own will cannot override, that is not a story you are telling yourself. That is something real that two people have built without ever agreeing to build it. There comes a point where the attraction is no longer a quiet theory, but an undeniable operating reality. And you can recognize it because both of you begin protecting the connection without being asked to. Without any agreement, without any label, without a single conversation having confirmed what this is, you start being careful. You stop engaging with other people the way you used to when they are around. You find yourself thinking about how something you do might land with them. You become, without any formal commitment, quietly oriented toward them, and they are doing the same. This is where the final, most defining sign lives. The two of you begin constructing a private world that belongs only to the pair of you. It happens in layers so gradual you almost miss them. Secrets shared only with this one person. References that only carry meaning between the two of you. A nickname that belongs exclusively to how you speak to each other. A humor that grew from nothing and belongs to no one else. Small, genuine compliments wrapped inside teasing so they can be delivered without the full weight of admission. These are not small things. They are the architecture of a particular kind of closeness, marks left by two people who have become, quietly and without ceremony, irreplaceable to each other. And then there are the moments that unsettle you, the ones where you realize the thought of losing them actually hurts, even though by any official measure, they are not yet yours. That is the heart-producing truth that the mouth has not agreed to deliver yet. You let yourself imagine them gone from your life, or replaced in your particular space by someone else, and something in you resists the image. Not from weakness, but because real feeling does not wait for permission before it deepens. When they feel the same, you see it too. You see them grow quiet at certain things you say. You see them reach for information in casual, indirect ways, wanting to know where you were and why you were slow to respond, not out of a desire to control anything, but out of the simple need to be reassured that whatever this is, it is still mutual. And then comes contact, something small. A hand that briefly meets yours, fingers that rest a moment on your arm, a shoulder held against yours a second longer than the situation required. None of it is accidental. Every one of those touches is a quiet question. Is it safe to come closer? Is this something you feel too? You do not move away. Neither do they. Because the body has been saying what the voice has not, and eventually those two things begin to catch up with each other. Here is the deepest truth in all of this. Two people who genuinely feel something for each other do not need to announce it for it to be completely real. The connection speaks for itself. It speaks through the eye contact that stays a moment too long. It speaks through the jealousy that is too sharp to be indifferent. It speaks through the silence that is too dense to be empty. It speaks through the goodbye that never feels properly finished. Mutual attraction is two people engaged in the same silent negotiation, both wanting, both waiting, both carrying enough fear to keep them in place while the feeling grows larger than the space they have made for it. If this has touched something familiar in you, if someone has shown you these things, if your thoughts keep returning to one particular person, no matter how determined you are to redirect them, then let yourself stop second-guessing it. Feelings this strong are not constructed. Chemistry this specific is not invented. Care this consistent is not imagined. Sometimes the only thing standing between two people and the truth is that the truth is too significant to say carelessly. But it is already there, in the eyes, in the pauses, in the full and humming silence. Both of you know it. You have known it for a while. If this reached something real inside you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, or drop your experience in the comments because you are almost certainly not the only one living in this particular kind of almost.